Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are all here to celebrate what is called as Truly 15. And Truly 15 is essentially, what can I say, is an amalgamation of the many things that Yours Truly Theatre stands for. Some of us were part of the session in the morning, which was essentially for the education sector and for NGOs and bringing about social change. The session that we have in the afternoon focuses more on what Yours Truly Theatre has done for the corporate sector. And it's wonderful to see such a large audience that has joined us today. I don't have the slide in front of me, but I think I'll try and remember what the agenda is. We'll first have a keynote session by Mr. Agasthya, who's kindly joined us. He is the ex-MD of HAL Learning Academy. We're going to have some performances by Yours Truly Theatre, essentially in the field of, we're going to have some image theatre, we're going to have some forum theatre. We'll have case studies presented by quite a few people from the corporate sector who have joined us. And then we'll have a panel discussion, essentially to discuss how theatre intervention has helped improve areas such as diversity and inclusion, to areas such as sexual harassment. I was talking to the lady who handles issues of sexual harassment, and it's an amazing topic. We'll be very interested to listen to. And then we'll also end with a playback session, with a playback theatre, and to see how theatre has brought about quite a bit of change in terms of not only creating awareness about social issues within corporates, and I know this speaking from a corporate perspective, but we'll also see the impact that theatre's brought about in some of the key skills that each one of us face, whether it's sales skills, whether it's negotiation skills, whether it's leadership skills. So that's how Yours Truly Theatre has helped. By the way, introduction to myself. My name is Sachit Murthy. I've been in the software space for about 20 years now. And the current company that I work for is a company called Manthan, and I head global sales there. And I have seen Yours Truly from day zero, so to speak, and the amazing journey that it has had over the past 15 years now. And as this day symbolizes the change, the impact that Yours Truly has had, not only on the social sector, but also the corporate sector, it's an amazing thing, amazing team that Nandini has put together. So without much ado, I'd request Mr. Agasthya to please come on stage and just share a few words to talk about his experience with Nandini and Yours Truly Theatre. So please give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Just to introduce Mr. Agasthya, he's got over a 4-decade career spanning multiple industries, multiple functional areas in both the public and private sectors. And the career has developed his passion for competitiveness and organizational excellence through people, systems, and best practices. He believes that learning and development and HR professionals need to strategically create the context for learning for organizations. Since 2016, he has established a partnership firm, ILFS Igmoid, for consultancy in strategic HR and learning and development. He was the dean and later executive director of HAL Management Academy. Sorry for that mistake, sir. He's initiated, the use of Yours Truly Theatre in HL training and general the use of theatre as well. He's a visiting faculty at IIM Bangalore for project management, and he's also a facilitator in the Tata Institute of Social Science certificate program for Insaniyat module of facilitating governance program. And I just learned that he is a Six Sigma black belt from ASQ and is a trained and experienced faculty in learning theatre. So welcome, Mr. Agasthya. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very liberal introduction. It's amazing that so many of you have come on a Sunday afternoon to be here. And I hope I can keep you engaged for the few words that I'm supposed to speak. Uh, Actually, it's like asking a test player to play a T10 match, not even a T20 match. So I'll try to see how well I can meet that expectation. Just to check with you, just think of how much is the humor quotient in your workplace or even in family place on a scale of 1 to 10. Suppose you say, or 1 to 100, let's put 1 to 100. Humor quotient. I call it HQ actually. What's the humor quotient? Just call out some numbers just so that there's some interaction. So what's the humor quotient in your experience in the workplaces and family places? Yeah, come on. Yeah? Wow, great. Yeah? Okay, so you get some idea of if I average all these numbers and if I have done the same thing in several places, I think roughly we measure around 30 in most organizations on an average actually. And I think HR people should actually look at this aspect to increase the humor quotient level. And this is what I used to tell our HR people that please see what can you do about HR quotient. But most of the time they themselves are fairly serious people, I think. Am I right? No? Okay, good, good. I like people to say that I'm wrong because I would like to be wrong on these matters. Let me also talk about a simple example of theater in a workshop which we conducted and how theater actually is very important. We created a psychodrama and there was a person who's worked for 30 years as a general manager somewhere, and then we made them play a skit for three of them play a skit like thing from their own life examples. And there was a point where he was getting stuck. There's a relationship issue with somebody in the organization, and he was saying that this is what is my issue. So we asked other people in the program to see a workshop to see if they can actually handle that and see if they can bring a different angle to it. And all of them were trying to help, but they did not move out of that position from which he was working actually. So they could not find an easy solution to his problem. And that's the kind of problems we all are stuck with. We want to have the cake and eat it too. Most of our organizational issues are in those matters. So here I like to quote actually, and I think this is something which I like as a quotation. D.A. Kolb, who's written a book called Experiential Learning, Experience as a Source of Learning and Development. He says, learning is a process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. So if training programs fail, it's because we are not creating that experience of transformation adequately. And I'm not talking about only soft skill programs. I'm talking about even technical programs or functional programs. There's a need for, in every training program, that we actually create a transformation in the mindset of people before we pour in the seeds. So if somebody asks me what is your role as a L&D head or something, I would say my job is to only plow the minds. You would only plow the minds. Most of the time we are busy putting the seeds into it. And therefore, when I bring all this into how theater has been a very important part of my work, I'd like to actually say after my retirement, I've invested my time and money into theater, in bringing theater to the corporate. So I'm taking a risk in that whole process, and I'm willing to do it because I believe that there's a lot that can be done which is not yet explored. So I'll talk to you about a few aspects. I hope I'll not take too long, okay? One is about role. Some of you should go back to your books and read the definition of role as defined by Uday Parikh and all that. Okay, but basically I want to say when I take role from the theater, role is Paatra. Do you agree? So the Paatra is the vessel in our language. Now what is the function of the Paatra? It transfers energy from the fire to the ingredients. Most of our training and work in management, we look at the ingredients, how to make the ingredients produce output. We don't look at the Paatra which is actually creating that process. So the energy that comes to a person's work is not just his technical or his or her technical competence or functional experience, etc. It is also the energy that comes from the role that the person selects to play in that particular situation. And our ability to move across roles is actually a big challenge in organizations. In fact, I would go to the extent of saying in HR practices, we are not adequately looking at role effectiveness while we are talking about technical effectiveness and competence, etc. So there's a need for us to look at role effectiveness, and in this, I have found that the theater is a very powerful way by which you can make people look at their own way of doing things. Only when I reflect on how am I playing this role, can I actually play my role a little differently. As long as I'm caught up in my role, I get stuck with it. And this is where actually, even in leadership, I have observed top leadership people get stuck because they're not understood that a new situation requires a new role to be played, new role to be followed. So on, and I can go on for a long time on this. I really appreciate Nandini for bringing this together, for having held herself in this position of bringing in theater. It's not easy because many times you're a lone ranger, and she has obviously gone through all the navarasas that we talk about in our programs, frustration and bhibatsa and bhayanaka, all these emotions she would have gone through, and I'm very happy that she has been able to bring all of you together to this program at this stage. I wish her all the very best. I wish yours truly all the best, and I wish you all the best for a very nice afternoon of interaction. And more than that, raising the level of maturity of using the theater in practices in theater. In corporate world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Agasthya. Wise words from a wise man. Thank you very much. I think Mr. Vasudev has worked, correct, sir, with Mr. Agasthya. So it's only apt that we give a small token of appreciation for Mr. Agasthya. Round of applause, please.